Hi, I'm Ian Thompson. This is one of a series of investing videos, and this one is all about debt. Do you have debt that you want to get rid of? Maybe it's credit card debt or car debt or personal loan debt or some other form of bad debt that's holding you back, stopping you from getting ahead? Because if so, I've got good news for you, because this video is going to show you how you can get out of debt in 3 to 7 years. Now, my friend Jamie McIntyre, he found himself in debt to the tune of over $150,000, and he used these strategies to help himself get out of debt. At the time, he didn't even have a job, he had no income, he had nowhere to live either. And he used these strategies not only to get out of debt, but to help him to turn his life around, and he became a self-made millionaire in only 4 years. Okay, so let's get into it.
Okay, now the starting point for this is to talk about the fact that there's actually two different types of debt. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Now, good debt is the sort of debt that puts money into your pocket. So good debt might be a mortgage on an investment property, and because you got that, you're earning extra income from the investment property that not only pays the underlying mortgage, but also leaves you with a profit. So it delivers money into your pocket. Bad debt, on the other hand, takes money out of your pocket, so it's things like credit cards, personal loans and so on. So it doesn't achieve anything good at all. So our focus here is on eliminating the bad debt. Now, in order to do that, there's a little bit of magic that's required, and that magic is all summed up in one word, and that word is commitment. So the first step in eliminating your bad debt is to make a commitment to pay more than the minimum payments, and ideally that should be 10% of your gross monthly income, or of your gross income. So let's say you're earning $3,000 per month, then you'd be making a commitment to pay an extra $300 a month on towards your clearing off your bad debts. But the most important thing is, if that 10% is too much, the most important thing is actually to get started with a small amount if necessary and build it up later. Now, some people have said to me, well, that's all very well, but sorry, I don't have I don't have any extra cash. Well, my simple answer to that is look, get over it. If you are serious about changing your life, then find something that you're spending money on at the moment that you don't really need to. So cut out your coffees, your DVDs, whatever it is that you're purchasing that you're spending money on at the moment. If you really want to change your life, if you're serious about it, then start that change. Make a commitment to pay more than the minimum payments, ideally 10% of your gross income. So let's go through a quick example of that. Let's say you do have gross monthly income of $3,000 and your bad debts each month are $1,200. So your ideal extra payment would be an extra $300. So ideally you'd be paying a total of $1,500 each month towards clearing off your bad debts. If you can't do 10% of your gross monthly income, then do 10% of your bad debt payments, so put an extra $120 into it. And if you can't do that, do whatever you can, get started, but make a commitment to increase it as time goes on. Okay, so now you've worked out how much to put into the process. How do you use that extra cash to get out of debt quickest? Well, there's 3 steps to the process. Step 1 is all about getting organized, and if you just produce a simple little chart like this one here, 5 columns down there where you list down each of the debts, the balance that you owe on that debt right now, and what your monthly payment is, your minimum monthly payment is on each of those debts. And I have to say, the very first time that we did this, I was horrified with how much it all added up to. And so before I got beyond step 1, I'd learned a lot, and it had helped me a lot. So it's a powerful process doing this. So get yourself organized, put all your debts down, and then it moves on to strategically allocating that extra cash that you're going to put into it. And the process that we're going to go through in order to do that is to work out a payoff ratio and a payoff priority, and use those extra 2 columns in the form to do that. Now, the payoff ratio, what you do is you take the current balance of each debt, divide it by the minimum monthly payment, and that gives you the payoff ratio. So in the example, there was a car loan of $17,000. divided by the monthly payment of 600 gives a payoff ratio of 28.3. So do that for each of the debts, and you come up with each of the payoff ratios. Having taken each of the payoff ratios, find which one is lowest and give that priority number 1 to it. Which is second lowest gets priority 2, and so on. So if we come back to our example, the store card gets a payoff ratio of 15, so that gets priority number 1. MasterCard is the second lowest number, so that gets number 2, and so on. So you work through each of the debts in that way. Then, having worked out the priority, then moving on to step 3, which is actually to pay the debts off. The starting point is to say that for all of the debts you're just going to make the minimum payment. And that's for all of the debts except for the one that you've given a priority number 1 to. And for that one, you're going to pay the minimum plus the full extra amount of cash that you're going to allocate to this project. In this case, in the example we were talking about, that's $300, so you'd be paying an extra $300 fully onto debt number 1. So you're not spreading it across the debts, you're putting it all into the one with the higher first priority. So you pay that amount each month until debt number 1 is paid off, and then you take the full amount of money that you've been paying against debt number 1 and you add that to the minimum payment for debt 2, and therefore you're making a much higher payment to debt 2, and you'll therefore pay off debt 2 quite fast. Having done that to debt 2, you repeat that with debt 3, and so on until all the debts are paid off. So again, coming back to our example where the store card was the first payoff priority, instead of paying off $100 there, if we're going to add an extra $300 to it, you'll be paying $400 each month. And therefore, by following that process, you'll actually pay off that store card the full $1,500 in 7 months. And then you can use to transfer that full $400 you've been paying against the store card onto debt number 2. So debt 2 in this case is the MasterCard. So instead of paying $250, you're now adding the $400 to that and making a full payment of $650 each month onto the MasterCard. And therefore the MasterCard is paid off in a further 4 months. And if you keep doing this, so the next time you're adding $650 to the next debt, which happens to be the Visa card, so that makes that $950 you're going to pay each month. And you keep going through paying off each of the debts, adding it up so you don't reduce your monthly payment, you keep it going at that set amount. And in this particular example, if you would keep doing that, you'd be paying off, you would have paid off all of those debts in about 5 years and 8 months. Now, a couple of notes about this. Firstly, obviously, once you've paid it all off, you can transfer your monthly payment instead of paying off bad debt and going into investments. So that's, in this example, another $3,000 a month going into investments. Another point to note is that in those examples and in your calculations, don't worry about interest charges. I know they will increase the amount of debt, but ignore that, because you're also ignoring the fact that you're continuing to make the minimum payments against each of the debts in the meantime. So you're actually reducing the debts while the interest charges are working to increase them. So those two kind of balance each other out. And look, this method works because it focuses on you getting results fast. And you soon start to tick off debts as having been paid. And so look, as you see the number of debts reducing and the speed of them paying off increasing, you're constantly encouraged along by those results, and you're encouraged to keep going. Now, Joe Harrison was somebody who followed this particular program, and after she'd been doing it for a year, one of the things that she said is that because she'd put that debt elimination plan in place, it allowed her to focus on her wealth creation activities, and the debt elimination plan kind of worked in the background, and she didn't have to worry about it. And by doing that, she managed to increase her net worth in a year by $100,000. So look, if you follow these steps like Joe did, then you could get rid of all your bad debt, including your home loan, including your car loan, your credit cards and so on. You could get rid of all of that bad debt in 3 to 7 years. So why don't you stop listening to me and get on with it? Look, I hope that's helped in getting you to get on the path of getting rid of your bad debt. If you enjoyed this information and would like free instant access to a full-length video about investing, then visit www.investmentsuccessnow.com.